So if you've watched my videos for a while, you'll know that one of my favourite makeup products ever is foundation. I'm obsessed with foundation. I love trying different ones and I love making sure that my base looks as flawless as possible. Now, I am someone who really likes my base to look flawless, but to also look really natural. That's key to me. I don't like foundation to look like a mask. I don't like it to look cakey, and I just don't like it to look really obvious as well. And I know that that's personal choice. You would be surprised. I had a friend once who liked her foundation to be really kind of thick, and she said to me one day, like, oh, your foundation, like, it just looks like skin. And I sort of thought in my head, that's what it's meant to do. But she liked a really thick, heavy, cakey coverage. But regardless of what foundation formula you're using, obviously there's certain formulas that work better and look more natural, but I'm not going to go into that today. I'm going to talk about 5 key steps in making your foundation look the most flawless. The first one starts with skincare, and it is all about making sure your skin is really well moisturised and taken care of. If your skin is dry, if your skin is particularly oily, if your skin just isn't kind of feeling the nicest that you can get it to feel, your foundation's not going to sit nicely on it. It's basically like applying paint onto a cracked wall. It's just not going to look very nice. Even if it's an amazing paint, it's sat on a cracked wall. So putting foundation onto good skin is important as well, but it's not necessarily that your skin has to be perfect underneath. The texture is more important than how it looks, because the foundation can correct how it looks, but the texture of it is very important. So making sure your skin is well moisturised, but kind of let your moisturiser sink in a little bit. Don't pop your moisturiser on and then straight away put your foundation on unless you've got very dry skin. Another thing to mention is if your skin can be a little bit oily, and you want to kind of mattify it before putting foundation on, because shine can make foundation look a bit obvious, I find. This is a really great product. This is the Bioderma Corrective Care for Enlarged Pores. I just like to put a little bit of this kind of in this area, which is where I get the most shiny, and it really helps to kind of combat that for me. So definitely would recommend something like that if you do suffer from oiliness. Then the next tip is to use a primer. I know not everyone likes using a primer, and I don't think that they necessarily make your foundation last that much longer on the skin, but what they do is give your skin a flawless base and help to really disguise pores. And pores are kind of the main culprit, I think, for making your foundation look obvious. Pores and kind of the fine hair that you can sometimes have on your face, they're what makes foundation look the most obvious. The best for pores, I found, is the Benefit the Professional, but there are kind of cheaper options that work nicely as well. And just pop this onto your pore problem areas. So for me, that's kind of always around here, a little bit on my chin and on my nose, and it just helps to kind of disguise them, and your foundation doesn't sit inside your pores and look really obvious that way. It just helps to kind of smooth everything out. Then the next tip is to really take your time with your foundation. So whether you're using a brush, your fingers, whatever you're using, try and kind of take your time to make sure that that's the most important step of your makeup routine. So really work it into the skin and just kind of take your time blending it down your neck a little bit onto your jawline. If the colour doesn't match you perfectly, I would do it even if the colour does match you, because it just kind of looks better in my opinion. But really make sure that you've got it into the skin, so kind of tap it into the skin a little bit. Then the next tip is to invest in a sponge, and I'm not a fan of applying your foundation with a sponge, but after you've got your foundation on, I always like to take my hands and to just press onto my face with my hands. I feel like the warmth just helps the foundation look really seamless. But I would not be without this, and sorry that it's dirty because I used it this morning when I was doing my makeup, but this is the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. I use this to put concealer on under my eyes, it's perfect for that, but also to, after I've applied my foundation, I like to just take this end and kind of press it onto my skin, and it removes any excess and just really helps your foundation become one with your skin and make it look incredibly natural. You can kind of use this damp to pop your foundation on. I just find it's a bit more hassle than it's worth, and it doesn't give, you know, a super flawless finish for me. I don't find it that effective, but using it like that, just kind of pressed into the skin, really works amazingly. I can't stop doing that to it now, it's really satisfying. But just really bouncing it into the skin, and it'll help your foundation look really natural but gorgeous. And then the last tip is to use a setting spray, and I know this probably sounds a little bit high maintenance. I remember when I first started watching YouTube, Lisa D1 said that she uses Mac Fix Plus on her face, and then turns the hairdryer on and kind of sets it, and it looks really flawless. I've tried that and that didn't really work for me, but using a setting spray after you've done your makeup is really cool. This is my favourite at the moment. It's the NYX Dewy Finish setting spray. I like my foundation to have a slightly dewy finish, but they do one that controls oil. Urban Decay do them. You could even just set your makeup with a little bit of kind of that Evian spritz. That works fine as well. They don't necessarily have particularly amazing ingredients in them. They just kind of, I think, make your makeup look really flawless. Sometimes I'll do it after I've done my foundation straight away, then let it set in for a couple of minutes and then go ahead with the rest of my makeup. Usually I just do it after I've done all my makeup, and I'll show you now. Just hold it from afar, close your eyes and spray it. 2 sprays like that, and it just really helps to revive everything and make your foundation look really glowing but not oily, and it just helps to kind of set everything in place and make it look really natural. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's something that I kind of feel that I don't always talk about, but these are things that are really important to me when making my foundation look natural. And I also think, you know, you don't have to apply foundation everywhere. Foundation is not the be all and end all. You don't need to kind of have a full face foundation if you don't need it. For example, I never apply it on my forehead because I don't need the coverage on my forehead, and all it does is makes me oily. So use sparingly. Centre of the face usually is where you need it, and blend it outwards, and that's the key to making your foundation look the most natural. Today I'm wearing the Clarins Everlasting Foundation Plus, which isn't the most natural looking foundation I've ever used, but I do like it, and I have taken all those steps to make sure it does look a little bit more natural, and I do really like it like this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've got any tips on making your foundation look natural, or kind of what issues you have with foundation. Sometimes I find it can sit a bit weirdly here if you don't blend it in properly, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.